The following is the presentation Bruce Beeman did at the 2022 Minnesota North Dakota District Rally in regards to Eagles Wings Motorcycle Association.
Like everybody else, I was surprised, like everybody else, that GWRA is closing. All right. With that being said, Paul Hildebrand, the owner of GWRA, and Abel Garcia, the CEO of GWRA, contacted Anita and asked her to come into their office because they wanted to sell her GWRA. Now, emotionally, she went, of course I'm going to do that. But business-like, she says, I have to think about that.
10 and 10.
And that was a few months before we all even knew about it. Okay? And she was sworn that she could not say a word to anybody.
Connie.
Okay? Confidence. If I tell Bill something, hey Bill, I need you not to say anything until this date, I expect him to keep that. Right? A week before Wing Ding, I got a phone call. And it was Anita. And she says, GWRA is closing, and you can't say anything.
Don't tell me that.
And I went, you gotta be shitting me. Excuse my French. That's after I picked myself up off the floor when she said it was closing.
Das ist Scheißenkopf.
She said they want me to do this, and this, and I want a partner. And I went, oh, that's cool. And I want that to be you.
Oh.
5 minutes later, when I picked myself up off the floor, I went, why? And she said, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, I said, well, I'm going to have to think about this. So I did. I thought about it real hard. And I said, I'll give you an answer at Wing Day. So we went down there. She did her spiel to the chapters. She did her spiel with the districts. We're having lunch. She says, do you see the feedback that we're getting about this? Are you in? And I went, I'm in. And she looked at Barb and she says, what do you think? Quote unquote, he's lost his freaking mind.
He just gave us the G version, right?
Exactly. So we're we would not be doing this. I would not be standing up here. Anita would not be doing what she's doing back in Phoenix. If GWRA was going to be here tomorrow, next year, and a year after that, we would be in GWRA, okay? Because I wouldn't know any one of you all if it wasn't because of GWRA. I've got 20 years of my life invested in this, okay? I poured my sweat, my tears, my love, my laughter with all of y'all. And I even learned how to say all y'all.
Reba taught you that, I bet
Right?
you.
So when we found out that GWRA is literally shutting the door, the building has already been sold. They're cleaning out the warehouse, okay? There's a void. Y'all are my family, okay? And you're all Anita's family. So we go, you know what? We can't let this die. So we are starting a new association. Guess what, folks? It's not GWRA. One, Goldwing is owned by Honda, not GWRA. We can't use that. We can't even use Wing Ding or Wing World. That's owned by Honda. So we had to come up with a name all ourselves. The other thing that we're doing that's a little different is we are opening this up to all bikes, irregardless of what it is.
10 years ago.
So you notice that, yes, in the name, it's got wings, but it's got eagle in front of it. Now, most motorcycle associations, most motorcycle people relate to an eagle, irregardless of what kind of bike you ride. All right? So that's why we went with that. Now, Bruce had a brainstorm and said, well, let's call it Eagle Wings Riders Association. Google that. You know what comes up? Horses. not a good thing. So we said, this is what we settled on. This is our logo, right here. That's what it's going to be. It's really universal. There's nothing on here that says it's a Goldwing. There's nothing on here that says it's a Harley or any other bike. It's universal. We can use it wherever we go, and you can put it on anything you want to put it on. Okay? We are hoping to kick off September 1st with our new organization. Now, I've got a couple back here that I've known for a long time that are on the national team, and they're doing a phenomenal job. And this, because we're closing, so you all need to know this, has nothing to do with their team. They did a phenomenal job, and they're still doing a phenomenal job. Thank you. If it wasn't that they were going to take a break, I was already hustling. So what are we? We're not GWRA. So if you're a life member of GWRA, you still are, but you're not with EW. So no, it doesn't transfer over. Okay? Can I keep my number that I had in GW? No, you sure can, but you're not going to carry it over. Okay? So you got to understand, we are a brand new association. The buck stops with Anita and I. We are the co-founders. We are Eagle Wings Motorcycle Association. We have a team of vice presidents who are all in place. We are bringing back the regions. Now, for all of you that remember the regions, most of us do, they truly were the glue that held us together. They really were. Okay? They were the glue that kept the districts going, and the districts brought the chapters in. And when they got rid of, when Anita, and she apologized, we had a Zoom call the other night, she apologized to the people that were region people back then, and we have a few now that are back with us. And she apologized to them, but she says, you need to understand one thing. When I was the president of GWRA, I was an employee. I wasn't a volunteer, I was an employee. And when your boss says, this is what you're going to do, and you have three choices. You get rid of the regions, or you get rid of the districts, or you're fired. What are you going to do? She took the route of least resistance and got rid of the regions. Was it the right thing to do? You ask Anita today if it was the right thing to do? No, it was not the right thing to do. But she wasn't the boss. Today, we are the bosses. Today, we're not going to do that. We are not going to be what you are used to in GWRA. There's not going to be Riderhead. There's not going to be the university. There's not going to be membership enhancement. There's not going to be motorist awareness. Okay? But there's the real emphasis on this association that we're forming and that we're going forward with is safety, riding, and socializing. That is what I remember when I joined this organization. We didn't have all of this, okay? And neither did Paul and Dottie and Shirley when they started GWRA. When I came into this organization, some of you all know him, Mark Bangard was the educator. We had a meeting at my house. Can you imagine that? He stood up in about 5 to 10 minutes and gave us a safety talk. And then we went for a ride. Outrageous! Okay? The other thing that we have to remember, and here's one gentleman right here, walked up to me a couple hours ago and said, Bruce, I love you, but I'm done riding. I'm selling my bike. So do we flush it down the toilet? No. You know what? The stories and the memories that that man has shared with me are priceless. We need those people here so that he can share those experiences and that love of family with the new guy that walks in. So this organization that Anita and I are forming is grassroots and it's bottom up. So in other words, we are going to have our ear to the ground and listen to what the members are saying and not shove stuff down your throat. Okay? It's for the masses, it's not for the person. So, chapter dues, yes, annually. Membership, annually. Guess what? A household is $30 a year. Now, I've gone out and had a bad steak that costs more than $30. A solo is $25 a year. Okay? Now, y'all been seeing this stuff on Facebook. You gotta be a duck in water and let a lot of it roll off because there's a lot of crap out there. But you know what? There's some really good stuff too. Oh, just a minute. He's just gonna have to wait. One of the things that the more we get into this, the more we find out there are a lot more women writers today than there were 20 years ago, okay, or 30 years ago, all right? So what is on the application? Member and co-writer. What's it say on there now, Barb? Oh. Tina, what's it say on there?
Rider 1, Rider 2.
Well, you're close.
Oh.
Member. Now, unfortunately, it's still going to be a -1 because it's a household. But you're a member. You're not a co-writer anymore. So that was one of the good things that came out of listening to the people that are on the ground. Okay? Now, people say, well, when are you going to have this, and when are you going to do this, and when are you going to do this, and when are you going to do this? How many people here have started a business? How long does it take to get stuff back from the government that you have to have before you can do a business? Too long. So it may look like the duck on the pond is doing nothing, but if you look underneath the water level, my legs are going 1 trillion miles a minute. Okay, we have come in 3 weeks, we have come light years. We've got a logo, okay? We've got a lot of the paperwork done. We've got, okay, where is he? The number that I'm looking for, what'd you say it was? E-I-E-I-O?
Right.
There we go.
EIN.
Thank you. I'm dyslexic, and every time I say it backwards, So we finally got that. So I mean, things are moving forward for us. It is amazing those people that kind of understand what's going on, have the patience to ride this wave with us. But it's amazing how many of us, not us, how many of them out there are extremely impatient. Well, if you can't have this, I'm not going to do this. Don't do it. Now, I'm not here tonight to twist your arm to join us. All I'm saying is, if you've enjoyed what you've had in GWRA, if you've enjoyed the family atmosphere that you've had in GWRA, and you want to build on those relationships and those friendships and bring in some new people and show them what we have, then you want to join us, because that's truly what we are. All right? I'm going to open it up for a little Q&A. But please, before you ask the question, take a half a second to think about it before you ask. Okay? Because a lot of those that we've seen on Facebook, if they'd have taken just a half a second, they wouldn't have hit post. Okay? All right. Anybody got a question?
Where are you meeting headquarters going to be? What is in Phoenix?
Phoenix is where it's going to be. It's because Phoenix is easier to deal with than Minnesota is, for sure.
Because it's hotter than hell out there right now.
Yeah. Scott.
I think the biggest question is, where does the money go? How is it accounted for?
Okay.
What do we see for the money?
Okay. Have you ever you've been in business? all right? Where do you think the money's gonna go? It costs a lot of money to get insurance. It costs a lot of money to get incorporated. It costs a lot of money, you know, and I can go on and on and on and on.
But we're buying a product. What's the product?
No, we're not.
Right here. You're buying into an association, just like you bought into GWRA. You're buying into an association.
Liability insurance.
Liability insurance and all of that. Bill,
Yes,
why would you join?
I joined for the same reason I did 20-some years ago, and
Yeah.
that's to meet people, new friends, old friends. We, 20-plus years ago, met a lot of people. I enjoy it, still like going, and when the region cut down or went down, it was like we kind of lost some communication.
Well, that's our cousins.
Yeah. And Bob and Renee have done great with the journal, so did Joe. And they all did great, if you read it, if you get it, but not all of us got it. The region pulled us together, and it was nice once a year, at least, to get everyone together. That was great.
Hey Bruce,
Yes.
can I say why I'll join and why I joined GWRA? I joined GWRA almost 30 years ago. And today is a perfect reason why every one of us are here and deal with motorcycles and love each other, right? My brother and I had motorcycle wreck today, right? We're between a rock and a hard spot. We're both okay, the bikes are crippled. Somebody in this room stepped up to help us get back to our hometowns this week. Out of the kindness of their heart, they volunteered their equipment to get us back. That's an association that'll go 5,000 years. You made the call, that was it. That's all it took.
Go ahead.
Are there thoughts and plans on how we're going to attract more young folks?
Yes, there is actually. Believe it or not, we are putting together what we call advisory committees. One of the topics on that is how do we attract younger people? One of the gentlemen that's on that is from Michigan, and he's 34 years old. Okay, so we're not sitting back, a bunch of old wingers, thinking that, you know what, everybody here knows what the definition of insanity is, right? All right, so if we're going to take GWRA, for whatever reason, we're not going down that road, all right, is closing. So if if Anita and I were to say, okay, we're going to pick it up and we're going to do exactly the same thing, it's going to fail. It's that simple. So we're not doing that. So we're like I said, we're bottom up. It's real easy to shove things down your throat, but it's really hard when you really gotta sit down and listen to the people that are down there and what they're saying. And that's what our focus is gonna be. I've always been, and everybody that knows me, have always been a member's advocate. If I don't think it's good for the member, guess what? I'm gonna stand up and say my piece. That's just Bruce. So yes, we are really looking at that. And it's really cool because the other night on our Zoom call, I said, you know, this was cool. I said, you know, everybody on this screen is a winger. No, they're not. About 6 people said, I don't ride a wing. I went, that's phenomenal. I'm glad you're on our team. Ryan's first.
Well, I was wondering what you're going to carry on from GW. She brought up the goal book, and that's what we're trying to go after. Is that something that's in the plan? Because
I'm not saying it's not in the plans, I'm just saying right now it's not realistic. Because we don't have the computer systems, we don't have the membership, what's the word I'm looking for? Database that GW had, okay? We're a brand new association, so it's gonna take us some time. So, hey, I guess what, folks? Don't throw it away. You know, keep it, because I use it a lot, okay? Any other, okay, Jim?
And I know that probably isn't hard to be able to answer this one, but how are you going to handle the international? I mean, is it going to be an Encompass the international?
We're already there.
Okay.
We've got a vice president already in place in Canada, and we've already got the vice president overseas. It's already locked in.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
Yeah. And the thing that's really cool about it is like, this thing right here, if you lived in Canada, it cost you a ton to get this. If we had to ship this to Canada, or if we had to ship this over to Italy, it cost you a ton. I mean, the shirt cost me $5 and the printing on it cost me $8. So what do I got invested, right? That same shirt in Italy is like $75. Wow. Right? You know why? Because you got to pay all the duty to get there. But you know what I do? I can reach in my pocket, take out my flash drive, send them the artwork and say, you know what, have it done over there, and now guess what? It's going to cost you $13.
No, as long as you've got a plan for encompassing your.
Right. It's the same thing with Canada. It costs you an arm and a leg to get anything from GWRA across the border. I mean, because the duty is outrageous. But you know what? They haven't figured out a way how to tax that electronic thing going across the border.
Just give them time.
They'll get there. They'll get there. Yes?
I have a question concerning what currently is roadside assistance.
That will no longer be.
Okay.
And that's a GWR thing.
Are we looking into it?
Repeat the question.
Will there be road assistance? There will not be. And we will probably never offer it because the horror stories are horrendous. And I know a couple, y'all know a couple, you'll know a couple, they've tried it 3 times and it failed miserably.
It failed today.
And it failed today. So, no, you know what? My insurance company covers me. If anybody here belong to Sam's Club? They have a phenomenal, yeah. So, I mean, you can find it and get better service than we ever had.
You say Good Sam or Sam's Club? Yeah.
Good Sam. Yes.
I'm Butch Schmidt. I'm a district educator from Wisconsin, and you can imagine what my question is.
Oh, sure. Sure. No. When we say there isn't right or ed, okay, it's exactly that. What we're saying is what is the most important part of riding a motorcycle?
Safety.
Okay? And how do you do that? Exactly. So that's what we're hanging our hat on. We're not going to have the levels program. Sorry, we're not going to have it. I'm a level 4. I'm not, what do you call it? Current. But you know what? Yeah. So that's what we're hanging our hat on. And when we have at least 2 events a month, a social and a ride.
A month or a year?
A month, every month. Chapter, twice a month. You can do a lot more if you want, but that's what we would like. All right? At the district level, we're going to want you to do at least 2 events a year. A rally and a ride-in, or you can do 2 ride-ins. And at the regional level, we want you to do at least 1. And that could be either a ride-in or a rally. You can do more than that, and we encourage you to do more than that. But that's what we're expecting from each one of those levels. Nancy?
In that case, how are they going to report? How are you going to know if that chapter does come? Are they going to have to report it?
Well, we're not gonna, okay, how many people in here have, what's the people the chapter directors, how many of y'all do a weekly or a monthly newsletter?
Update.
How many? All right, guess what? All we want you to do at the chapter level is an update. What are you doing this month? Or what are you doing for the next 2 years? Or next 2 years? Next 2 weeks, all right? I don't need to know that, you know what? My 4th grandson just had my first great-great-grandchild, and on and on and on and on. All we need to know is what are you doing? And get it out to all your members, and I would post it on the district so they can get it off to all the chapters. That's how you get a problem. We're not going to be the police. Okay? If you want an experienced writer course, go to your state. If you want a first aid course, go to your state. There's a lot of fire departments that offer it. There's a lot of places, there's some chapters that have MSF instructors, right? Right? Thank you. Your state has it. Now, Bob Adams says, well, I want it at my rally. I said, well, contact them, find out if they'll come to your rally. Chances are they won't, because they've already got their courses set up. But hey, you never know if you don't ask. You don't know. So we're trying to keep it just as simple as possible. I truly believe in KISS, and it's keep it simple, sweetheart. I cleaned it up. Huh? So that's really it in a nutshell. I have got application forms here, so if any of y'all want to join tonight or this weekend, I've got them here. They are going to be online, so if you want to go home and think about it, kick it around, you can do them online. If you want to save the postage or whatever, I can do it tonight or tomorrow or whatever. Yes, ma'am.
Did you say you have the website up and going? I know the Facebook.
No, it's we have the domain names, but it hasn't been put together yet.
Okay.
Okay.
And then I
No.
have another question on that. Is for the chapters, I know currently we have Facebook pages and we have websites. Are you going to want us to do a website or just a Facebook page that we can link to the organization?
If you already have it, you can keep it and just link to us. Okay? It's a great way to communicate with each other. Okay, so I wouldn't get rid of it. I would keep it. The other thing that I want you all to know is Dean.
Yes.
Stand up, please. You see what he's got on his chest right there? It says Chapter R, GWRA in the state of Minnesota. Okay? What we're going to ask you to do, you can keep your letter if you want to in your state that you're in, like Q and R and S and V and whatever. Okay? Well, let's say you have a chapter nickname. Is it Iowa or Missouri that has the bumblebees? I think it's Missouri in it. Missouri. So they could be M.O. bumblebees. Or, you guys got the black sheep, right? Yep. So it could be I.A. black sheep. So we're not saying that you have to have a letter or a number. All we're asking is you put your state on there to signify what state you belong to. Obviously, if it's a district, it's going to be the Minnesota district. I mean, how do you get away from that? Okay? Sir?
You may not have this answered yet, but GW had an EIN number that everybody operated under, one single one?
No. You had subordinate numbers. You have subordinate numbers underneath that. We have, that's what I said earlier, EIEIO, that thing. Okay? We've got it, but not but we have to now get it legally put in place. Okay? Once we have that, then we can get it out to the regions, the districts, and the chapters. Anything else? Yes?
Do the chapter organizations need to reform under the new? I mean, just because your chapter, Q, does that still need to have an application process get created?
No.
You're gonna take, anybody that's out there is already there, is just gonna be there by default?
Yep.
Unless they choose to.
You're gonna have to, and like I told anybody else, you really need to talk to Randall Drake, who's still on the team, and does a phenomenal job as far as your bank account and that kind of stuff. Okay, and what's gonna happen if you decide that you wanna join this association, okay? At the end of the year, you're gonna have to close out that account and you're gonna have to check your, correct me if I'm wrong, Frank, you're gonna have to check it that you're closing that and you reopen the next day, okay? And you are gonna have to get a new EIUI number.
Were you referring to building a website?
No, just the chapter organization. Because you gotta create, each chapter is an organization in and of itself. You know, and at some point, somebody said, hey, I wanna open a new chapter, and they had to join GWRA and get a number or whatever. I mean, there's business mechanical processes that have to happen at the chapter level. And I just wanted to know whether or not those processes need to be, each chapter director needs to do work in
Yes.
order to get it done.
Yes.
More to come. GWRA stuff has to be done in a year, chapter to year.
Every one of them, you gotta.
That's a separate thing. Anything that's an organization is in another. It's a totally separate thing.
Exactly.
And that's what I think.
But
Bruce said, make sure that we follow the direction.
Yeah, that's what we gotta follow Randall Drake. The district and the chapter levels, I know they gotta follow Randall Drake. We're waiting for him to come up with guidance. He hasn't yet, so we can't change it.
2 months probably, sir.
2 months?
Within 2 months, you'll get more information.
But it comes down to the fact that the chapter directors need to work with you guys. And that's all. I was trying to make sure that everybody understands.
Chapter directors at this point need to make sure that they're in communication with him. Because he is officially GWRA. And that man right there. And lady. As a matter of fact, if you want to know who the boss is, it's that lady. Just like there's the boss. Okay? So yes. Yes. All right. We're gonna have to close this down pretty quick, but
and maybe I read something else into the question that he asked, but whatever we call what is currently GWRA chapter IAI, whatever we decide to, we will work through the new district team then as far as chapter fees, and there are going to be chapter fees, correct?
yes.
And so
Yes.
to designate a chapter, and that will be, you work up.
Yes.
That will be after December 31st.
Right.
Remember, everybody, December 31st.
You have to check, when you do, it's a postcard, right, Frank? Yeah, and you have to check, there's a little box that says you're closing. You have to check that little box that you're closing, you're done, and then you're done. And then you get the new number, and you open up your checking account. Just a minute. Right there.
So we'll still need to do fundraisers because we're gonna have chapter dues. We're gonna have things like that, you know, I mean, what do we need to run as a chapter?
You need to have as much money in your account that it takes to cover the expenses of the chapter. So if the only thing that your chapter's expenses are the charter fees, that's all you need in there. If you're gonna put on any kind of event that you have to cover expenses on, that you need to sit down with your chapter director, finance person, the team, and figure out what is your budget for that year, and that's how much money you're gonna take. Now, does that mean then that you have a fundraiser? You can do that, but that gentleman right over there has never had a fundraiser.
Right, I was gonna point that out.
Okay? And their chapter functions very well. And as a matter of fact, if you want to model on exactly what it is that we're trying to model, Chapter W in Minnesota is it. That's exactly what we want to do.
I have a question that kind of goes along with that. Because we've talked about raising money for other organizations, you know, like,
Ronald McDonald House?
yeah, like Ronald McDonald House and stuff, and there was very strict guidelines around that. Is there any guidelines for that?
Okay, when you're a nonprofit, and I don't know the legalities, I don't even pretend to be a sidewalk lawyer, okay? I don't have a clue, all right? But I do know that if you're a nonprofit, out making money for a nonprofit, the RRS is probably going to take a look at you. Okay? I mean, And then there again, I'm not an accountant and I'm not a lawyer.
Bruce, is the intent for EW to move forward as a nonprofit?
Yes, we are filing, we've been filed under a 501c4,
Which is not.
non-for-profit. However, we've been told about a 501c7, which is, probably fits us a whole bunch better than the 501c4. Okay, the 501c4 is that we have to prove that we're educating the public. The 501c is we are a recreational association and we don't have to prove anything to anybody. 7. Okay, so that, we're really taking a look at that, and we want to make sure that all of our boxes are checked, that it's exactly what it says. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
I have stuff to say.
Mike?
It's very hard. I don't want that. I've had health problems. In 2019, I was very sick.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up. Anything else? One other question.
I have a question.
You have two
Is
questions.
this new organization going to have any sponsors?
I don't know.
Speechless?
Can't say?
GDD didn't ask that question again, he's got it quiet.
Believe it or not, we are going to go after people to try to have some corporate sponsorship. Yes. Have we got it? No. There again, it takes time to build that. In order for somebody to be a corporate sponsor, the first thing out of their mouth is, what am I going to get out of it? Okay? If I give you this kind of money, what am I getting back for my return on my investment? That's the first question out of their mouth. The second question out of their mouth is, what kind of exposure am I going to have? All right? I don't know if y'all been following that FB thing, but right now we've got like 1,800 people that have been on that site. I mean, that's phenomenal. Okay, I think it's even close to 2,000 or better. So that's a drop in the bucket for some of these people. So until we get some, are you ready for this? Wind under our wings. It's a little hard to talk to people, but we've got some people that are listening. I mean, that's kind of an evasive way to answer your question, but it's the best way I got. Just a minute.
I asked you, one of the first things we heard was NASCAR wanted it back.
That's not out of the question. Thank you for that. Yes.
Yeah, now you've got, so I guess the real question is, GWRA organization goes to the end of the year, right?
Right.
The Eagle Wing Motorcycle Association starts when? September 1st. Okay, so.
September 1st.
I got you, so September 1st. You got an override.
All your dues at the end of July, or I shouldn't say by the end of July, they will be back, but the membership benefits from GWRA, other than liability insurance, is done.
July 31st.
July 31st. The thing to keep in mind, and I said it right from the beginning, we're not trying to compete with GWRA. I mean, I wouldn't be standing up here beating y'all with this low voice if GWR was going to be around. I would be drumming their drum.
So we're just gonna have parallel organizations till January 1.
Well, I don't know about parallel, but we're going to have organizations, yes. And you know, the thing is that there are other organizations out there that are motorcycle organizations. I mean, and people, I'm really surprised that nobody's asked this question. Why hasn't the Home Office endorsed EW? I can answer that.
I don't care.
You know what, well, no, it's, you know what, they're not going to endorse any organization. Whether it be us, or some other organization that's starting up, or some organization that's already there. I mean, you got the Gold Wing Touring Association. You don't hear them endorsing them either. So they're staying out of it, which I applaud them for. Okay? Because it wouldn't be the right thing to do for them to endorse any other place.
Hey, Bruce, along with Bill's question, the chapter dues will not start for EW until September?
Chapter dues will, and I don't know this for a fact, so don't hang your hat on it. So then don't say it, Bruce, because the minute I say it, it's a fact. I'm not going to say it. I don't know the answer to that yet.
That's fair.
All right.
One more, Judy had a question.
Being as I now live in northwestern North Dakota.
Woohoo!
North Dakota and South Dakota have no chapters whatsoever.
You're correct.
How are you going to communicate to
Members at large?
not just Gold Wing members, of which there are probably very few enough there, but how are you going to enhance or attract the Harley riders, the Kawasaki riders, whatever, that may be up there and may get something started in the future? Otherwise, I gotta drive 600 miles back here to do any kind of a chapter function.
Okay, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm just going to tell you the way it is. All right. Right now, marketing, GWRA never did any real marketing. There was one magazine that had an article in about that big. Other than that, it was a volunteer.
Yeah.
Okay, guess what? We don't have any money.
Well, yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna have to depend upon us
To spread the word.
to spread the word. Okay, that doesn't mean that as things go on that we can't get some advertising out there, like on having a Facebook page or having your own website and those types of things. But that all takes money and that all takes time. So,
I don't think there's a chapter in Montana either, is there?
oh yeah, oh yeah, there's 3.
Okay.
In connection with your question, Bruce, is there going to be something on the Facebook page that's going to let all riders know their...
Yes, 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 for sure.
Socialization and writing.
I'm sorry?
For socialization and writing.
And safety.
Because a lot of people have said, well, I don't ride anymore, and I ride something else, and the Facebook page right now, and the website, does not
Yes.
express that. So,
Yes.
yeah.
We are absolutely stressing safety, writing, and socializing. Okay? One last question. Yes? Now this is it.
I don't have a question.
Oh, thank you very much.
I want to thank you and Anita for everything that you've done in the last 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. That I know it's got to be one heck of a thing to get started and to follow all the negative comments. And it's like, why can't we do this? Why can't we do that? It's you guys, like you said earlier, let it run off your back. That nobody twisted anybody's arms to join GW in the first place. No, you are not out here twisting our arms to join EW. It's our own decision, and if you don't want to join, don't join. You know, you may want to wait a few months or a year to find out, you know, how things are going. But nobody's going to twist your arm. Use your own judgment. And don't expect everything to happen in the next 30 days.
Thank you.
More information will be forthcoming as it becomes available. Currently, there are applications available either online or through your chapter directors or district directors. Thank you for your continued patience through this process.